Hi, welcome to episode 258 of the Corner of Knit and Tea. My name is Laura. I'm also known as Fluffy K on Ravelry, Fluffy Kira on Instagram and Twitter. I blog over at thecornerofknitandtea.com, and that's where every episode show notes will be. I have an Etsy shop called The Corner of Knit and Tea, where I sell my handspun yarns, and we have a Ravelry group also called The Corner of Knit and Tea. Hi, how are you? It is Monday, December 23rd. And it is a toasty warm day actually here. We're going to get up to almost 60 here just outside of Kansas City. And it is lovely out. We have not had any more snow since I last talked to you, and it looks like it's actually going to be quite a warm Christmas for us, which is not entirely unusual. The first Christmas that I spent in the Midwest with Wes and his family when we were dating, he took me out on his motorcycle Christmas weekend because it was 55 degrees out. So it's supposed to be in the 60s for the next 2 days, and maybe a little bit of rain later in the week, and maybe some snow at the end of next weekend, but that's too far out to predict because it might change. So how are you? I hope that you are doing well. I know a lot of people are in the sort of the last throes of gift knitting for the holidays. I hope that you are done with all of the things that you want to finish before the holidays. I know Hanukkah started last night, the 22nd, and Christmas is just a couple more days away. So I decided to film in front of the tree one more time. I'll probably leave it up till New Year's, but I don't know if I will film in front of it next week or not. I guess we'll just have to see. So things here have been busy. I've been finishing up some sample knits and turning my attention to some of my own knits. And we've been cleaning the house, and my in-laws are due to arrive tomorrow. It will just be a quiet Christmas with the four of us, my mother-in-law and her boyfriend, and then of course Wes and myself. So that is what we are up to. I will start on the regular podcast and let you get back to your holiday activities. So today I am drinking Santa's Cookie. It is from Tea Time Scottsdale. It was originally given to me by Liz, who has been on this podcast before, and I've also picked up some. She took me there the last time I was in, well, actually 2 times ago I was in Arizona. When I was there at the beginning of the year, she took me to Tea Time in Scottsdale, and I got to pick out my own bags of stuff. But Santa's Cookie is a black tea that tastes like snickerdoodles, so cinnamon and sugar, and it is just a lovely tea, and I have been drinking it all month. That bag is almost done, and I am drinking it today in my Stonehenge sheep mug. So you can see that I picked up in London at the beginning of the year. And that is delicious. Liz first brought me some of Santa's Cookie ages ago, and then, like I said, I bought myself some. So I am sipping on tea, knitting on a few projects, and yeah. So you did not get to see my finished night shift. That is a shawl by Drea Renee Knits, and I was doing that as a sample for Zen Yarn Garden. I finished it, and that went in the mail on Friday. It actually should be delivered today. So that one is done, and I will be putting some photos of the finished product on my Instagram today. I took them, I just haven't taken them off the camera yet. But that is what I finished this past week. Let me think about this. Yes, last week, and got everything into the mail. I actually finished it on, I think, Tuesday night, and then blocked it before sending it. So I have turned my attention to some of my own knits. I have 2 knits that I would like to finish for the rest of the year. The first one I showed you last week, and it is the Busta Beanie by Gudrun Johnson, and I am knitting it out of Jamieson's Shetland Spindrift, and I am using 3 colorways. This is the yarn that I am using, and I picked up my original 3 skeins in the UK when I was there at Loop London, and then I unfortunately didn't realize until I looked at the pattern when I got back home that I actually needed 2 skeins of the main color, so I actually ordered from Schoolhouse Press, which is Meg Swanson's shop, who is the daughter of Elizabeth Zimmerman. It was actually my first time ordering from them, and the yarn came quickly, and I believe it is a close enough match to what I am already knitting with to not be a problem. So I am knitting the Boosta Beanie by Gudrun Johnson. It was designed for Shetland Wool Week a couple years ago, and the pattern is available for purchase on Ravelry. And I am using 3 colors of Jameson's Shetland Spindrift. The first is this raspberry colorway. As you can see, I'm working through my first ball. The second is the sunset colorway, and the third is the laurel colorway. And when I showed you where I was last week, I was just at the end of the first half a pattern repeat, and now I am at 1.5 pattern repeats, so you'll be able to see what's going on here. So the Boosta Beanie is, it's kind of got this wavy action going on with triangles in different colors, and you can see I have sunset as my first and third and laurel as the middle, and that wavy section in the middle is kind of fun too. I really think this is going to turn out lovely. The hat calls for you to do the contrasting edge, and I'm really glad they did because I think it adds a nice bit of character. My hope is that I am going to finish this one before the new year. I don't see why I shouldn't. I didn't work on it a lot this past week, because I was working on some other things, but this is one of 2 knits I want to focus on this week. I would love to get this off the needles before the first of the year. And I think that's all I really need to say about that. This, of course, reminds me of my London trip, and I feel like it would be a fitting bookend to the year. I was in London around the 23rd, 24th of January this year. I went when my husband was working there. And like I said, the yarn came from Loop London. I will note, last week I talked about the fact that I thought that the hat might be a little bit scratchy. I was advised by multiple people that the yarn softens up quite a bit with washing, so I will be sure to get that into some wool wash as soon as I finish it. And I am going to try and work a couple more repeats on this evening. Well, at least a couple more triangle sections. And I would say I am about probably a little over a third of the way done with the knitting. I'm not quite halfway yet, but as you can see, it's certainly not going to fit me yet, but it will be a nice beanie. I think it's going to be a little bit large for my head, which is not terribly surprising. There's only one size for the pattern. I did not gauge swatch, which I probably should have because it's color work, but I wasn't too worried about it. I think it will be a little slouchy for me. Others report that it is too tight for them, so you might want to keep an eye on it if you're making it, but I have a small head, and so I always make the adult small of everything, and I find that if there's only one size, it's usually the medium to large. So I think this will work nicely for me, and of course you can see all my ends down there, but I will leave those in. So that is one of the 2 projects that I am hoping to finish this year. And it is the 23rd, so I have 8 days to go, and I hope that I can do that. So I would like to clear off those needles. So the second thing that I have been working on, and you haven't seen it in a little bit, at least a month or so, is my Nanny Swaymo. And that was for National Knit a Sweater Month in November this year. I chose to knit the Night Out cardigan. I think it's the Night Out cardigan. I can never remember whether it's Girls Night Out or Night Out cardigan. And maybe I don't, does it say? It doesn't say. I didn't print out the first page. I still don't know. It's by Joji Locatelli, and it is a lovely cardigan, and it will be linked in the show notes. As you know, I worked on this in the month of November and did not finish, but I would love to finish for the new year. So I finished the body. I bound off on that last night, and then today I met up with a coworker who is in town for the holidays, and we met up and I did a little bit of knitting, and I got a good start. I'm probably about an inch or 2 into the sleeves. So Night Out cardigan is a top-down raglan cardigan designed by Joji Locatelli. It has a really nice lace panel on the front. My ends are not woven in yet. So I do have the body of the sweater complete. And it's going to be hard to see because the light in here is not perfect. But so it does have this really nice lace panel. Let me see if I can, a little bit. It'll need some blocking. It has this really nice lace panel on the front. And as I said, I am done with the body, and I am working on the sleeve right now, and I am just a couple inches into it, so I have a ways to go, but I am really, really hoping that I can finish this by the end of the year. I do have 2 sleeves to go, but I have a week, and I don't have any samples that I am currently knitting. I have another one that needs to be cast on, but I think I'm gonna try and take a couple days and maybe Christmas Eve and Christmas in particular, just knit for myself. The one thing that I will note, and this is one of those, it's important to alternate your skeins, and one skein in your dye lot may not be the same as the others. I bought this yarn at TNNA in June, and I bought it in a bag of yarn of what I assumed were all dyed together. And they may have been, it just may have been depending on the dye pot, where the skeins were in the dye pot. And it is a gorgeous black. It's Anzula Dreamy, which is a merino cashmere nylon, and merino cashmere silk, I think. I have the label in the bag. Hang on. Let's do this right. So it is a merino cashmere silk. So, and this is the label. Anzula Fibers Dreamy Merino Cashmere Silk in black. And I alternated skeins throughout the body, and it took me, it's a fingering weight yarn, 385 yards to 100 grams. And I alternated skeins throughout the body, and it was ever so slightly tonal. As you can see, if I hold it up here, you may be able to see that it was ever so slightly tonal. Yeah, I think you can see that. I can see it in the screen reflection. Now that I have started the sleeve, so I finished the body with most of the same skeins, except right down at the bottom, I ended up working in the next skeins. And as you can see, right about here, where I started working in the next 2 skeins and alternating, some of the variation and kind of tonality stops, and it gets to be a more basic black. So I didn't really notice that as I was knitting the body, but I'll tell you where I did notice it today. I did notice it as I was knitting the sleeve, because I don't know if you can tell, but you can see right there, right here where I started knitting the sleeve, that the blacks are definitely different. Now I did pull out my other skein. I have 2 remaining skeins because these are almost full skeins. I have 2 remaining skeins, but they are both this black, and it does not matter if I alternate them. There aren't the kind of whiter or grayer blips that were in this skein. So it's just going to be what it is, and I'm going to continue knitting, and I don't think it's super noticeable for anyone who isn't a knitter and doesn't pay attention to those sorts of things. And I am hoping that even if both sleeves looked a little color blocked, like there is a line of demarcation, I'm hoping that they will be fine. I think it'll be okay. Again, this is an argument for alternating your skeins, which I did do, but it seems like maybe one of the skeins was slightly different from the other 3. And at least now I know that it's blended into the body, but like I said, I was a little surprised when I looked down and saw that line of demarcation there. But yeah, so this hasn't cooled my ardor for the sweater. I will say that this is one of those things that I just want to be done right now. This is a sweater that I really want to wear, and the idea of knitting the 2 sleeves in plain stockinette is sort of so-so. Like on the front, when I was knitting the body, I still had the front lace panels to keep me busy, so there was something to pay attention for. Now, the nice thing is that it means that I can knit this over the weekend while family, or throughout this week while family is here, and I do not have to worry about paying attention too closely other than my decreases. So that is what I will be working on. Those are the 2 projects for the end of the year. As you can see back there over my shoulder, my spinning wheel sort of got pushed to the side with the Christmas tree. I did finish spinning the singles. Well, I have other things, but I'll talk about that. I did finish spinning the singles of Bee Eater from Hello Yarn. That is I believe a Tarhi. I think I misspoke last week, but I'm pretty sure it's a Tarhi, and that just needs to be plied up. I'm actually going to pull that off the bobbin as soon as I'm done here, so that I can get that all ready so I can ply that up, because I can ply while we watch TV or movies or whatnot when everyone is around. So that brings me to what I'm going to cast on and what I'm going to spin next. So the first thing that I talked about last week is I am going to participate in the Christmas Eve cast-on. The Christmas Eve cast-on was first started by Danny of Little Bobbins Knits, and she has been somewhat absent this year because she had a baby last year, and so she has been busy with her little one, but she has been recording some Vlogmas episodes, and she is doing a Christmas cast-on, and actually she released a new sock pattern this year. I do not think I'm going to knit her sock pattern for this year, and that is because I already had a sock pattern picked out and purchased for what I wanted to do. It was one of my Make 9 for this year, and so I am sort of cheating because it will not be done in 2019, but I will start it in 2019 and hopefully finish it early in 2020. So my sock yarn for this year is a beautiful, beautiful colorway by Stranded Dye Works. I got the BFL nylon base, and this is the yarn. I don't think my camera is going to do it justice. It is called Gingerbread House. It was her color of the year, and I have the 80/20 Superwash BFL nylon fingering weight, yardage 365 meters, 400 yards, and then she also put up some minis, and this mini is a red that is to go with it. So what I really wanted to do is I wanted to knit the Coffee Talk pattern by Tracy of the Grocery Girls. Tracy? Yes, Tracy of the Grocery Girls, just Tracy. It is available on Ravelry, and it is a pattern where she uses, there is kind of a lace pattern. She's got a speckle and a solid, and so she does solid heels, toes, and cuffs, and then the speckle does the rest of the work. And this may be a bit more variegated than hers, but I don't care. I am going to make myself Coffee Talk Christmas socks. So I need to wind this up, and tomorrow, Christmas Eve, will be the cast on. So that is what's going next on my needles. The next thing on my needles, I will probably wait until I finish my other two knits with the hope that I will finish them by New Year's Eve. The next knit on my needles is another sample for Zen Yarn Garden. And I am going to use another one of their Serenity Silks Luxe Blanks. This is the colorway, and this is called Razzle Dazzle. I think that's what it is. Yeah, Razzle Dazzle. It is pink and orange and kind of a orangey brown, blacky pink. It's a nice gradient. And I am going to be knitting a doodler by, not a doodler, I keep saying that, a Dotted Rays by Stephen West. You may remember that I knit that one earlier this year in my hand spun, but it is perfect for a gradient. It's just garter stitch. It is absolutely lovely. And so I think that will work up fairly quickly. But my plan is to start that as soon as I finish the last two knits of the year for myself. I want to take a week off and just do a few things that I would like to get done before I start in the samples of 2020. So this is going to be the first sample of 2020. And again, that is Zen Yarn Garden Serenity Silk Plus, their Luxe Cakes. It's 150 gram skein, 750 yards, and it is a 75% superwash merino, 15% cashmere, 10% silk. It is luxurious. So, and that's a fingering weight. It's just an oversized cake. So that brings me to what I'm gonna spin next. And I got some beautiful fiber earlier this year from my boss. She went to a fiber festival in Colorado where she lives, and she sent me something. And this is from Hummingbird Moon hand-dyed yarn and fiber, and that is it's thehummingbird.etsy.com, and she is Spindrella on Ravelry, and this is 100% Tarhi in the colorway Spellbound. So, and it is turquoises and blues, and then little blips of pink and a little bit of yellow and a little bit of red, and it kind of reminds me wintry of the season. And I am just going to, I don't know what I'm going to spin it up into, but I'm going to spin it up and then maybe knit up a hat or something fun for myself. So that is what's next on the wheel, and I expect I will have all of these things to show you in progress or finished when we meet next. So I'm going to keep this one short. Final notice, if you are working on those last minute holiday gifts or gifts for other people, we still have the gift along thread open for just a few more days. That is if you are knitting, crocheting, spinning, sewing, any crafting for anyone else this holiday season, or it doesn't actually have to be a holiday gift. It can be for anything as long as it's something for someone else. All you have to do is post a picture of your finished object in the thread and you will be entered to win prizes. That will end December 31st at midnight, and I will go ahead and draw for prizes on January 1st or 2nd. So just a little while longer for that, and then coming up on the heels of that, we will do our Selfish Craft Along in January, which is craft something for yourself. So start thinking about those projects, and those giveaways will be open in the Corner of Knit and Tea group on Ravelry. So I hope you have a wonderful holiday season if you celebrate, and if not, I hope you are enjoying your week and up to lovely things. And until I see you again, I will say happy knitting, happy spinning, happy sipping, and I'll see you next time. Bye.